you've grown your list so big, it's almost like you feel like you've accomplished something.
These quote unquote gurus that grow your list as big as you can get it. Grow it like as many people on your list. Do whatever you have to do to get people on your list. I did believe that for a while. I started realizing that like the size of the list really isn't what's important.
Ever wonder how the e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they just know the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire. But they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using the most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant email and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with your free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
You're listening to eCommerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of eCommerce Uncensored. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
Jason Caruso. Today we're going to talk. Are you going to say something, Jay?
No.
Today we're going to talk about something we're going through actually with our clients and actually our own email list currently. And I think it's, you said it before we got on the phone, is like people, keep that number of email subscribers so close to their heart that sometimes where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Sorry, I want to put another light on. It's a little dark in here.
Yeah. But yeah, like they look at that number of email subscribers and they almost take, and I've been there. It's like you talk about you've grown your list so big, it's almost like you feel like you've accomplished something, when in reality, a big portion of your list is completely unengaged and doesn't open your emails, don't click, don't buy, and they're really just costing you money at that point. And we want to talk about like the things you can do to help clean your list and the importance of it.
Yeah, so mainly bigger lists, people with larger lists. Like Kevin said, we have a list of 70,000 people on our business, and our clients have big lists as well. And
over 100,000.
Yeah, over 100,000. And one thing that I think it's been perpetrated. That's the right word. Perpetrated by like these quote unquote gurus that grow your list as big as you can get it. Grow it like as many people on your list. Do whatever you have to do to get people on your list. And I did believe that for a while, and then about 7 years ago, I had a baking blog that had I owned a baking blog that had 127,000 people on the email list. And I started realizing that like the size of the list really isn't what's important, right? Like you can have 127,000 people on your list, but if only 3,000 of them are responding to your emails or opening your emails or clicking your emails, then effectively you have a 3,000 subscriber list.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you were alluding to was that like people fall in love with the number. They fall in love with how many people are on the list. But what we're learning and what we've found is that really your number one goal of people on your email list should be to try and turn them into a buyer.
Right.
Because buyers tend to interact a lot better.
And speaking of the cost of the list, and Trinity and I were looking at this yesterday when we were talking about the journal, and the way Klaviyo structures their payment plans is like they give you, a certain amount of emails on your list, like you have a cap, but then you also have a certain amount of emails you can send,
Ascending cap.
ascending cap. So not only do you have to increase your cost when you grow your list, you have to increase your cost if you're going to send more emails. And we love to send emails. And as we're looking at this, we're looking at the size of the list, and we have, like Jason said, like 60, 70,000 people that we can send to, including customers and non-customers. And we can send 1.1 million emails a month. And we had, our number was like 500 and something thousand that we've sent already. And our billing period ends on the 28th. So
it's the 9th, right?
It's like
we're recording this on the 9th, just to give them some context.
Right.
So we have about 15-ish, 16-ish days before we close, and we've already sent 500,000 emails out of the 1.2.
Right. And when you look at the number, you're like, okay, we can send 600,000 more emails. That seems like a good number. But when you break it down to the amount of subscribers we have and the amount of people we're going to send, that's only 10 emails over the next 15 days, and 20 days, actually, more like 19 days. And you're like, wow, like we like to send an email every day almost. So we're like, wow, that's going to catch up on us really quick, even though that's a big number.
Well, also, don't forget, you're sending to different segments, so you can send multiple emails a day too. So it's not just,
right. And I think that's kind of why Klaviyo sets it up like that, because they want you to have the engaged. They want you to see that cap, and they want you to kind of do these kinds of things at some point to make sure your list is engaged and not just spamming emails all day long.
Well, I mean, the thing is that a clean list helps in a lot of different ways. It's not just like one way, right? Like,
not just financially, for sure.
Yeah, no. I'm saying like a clean list. Yeah, right. A clean list, it helps open rates. It helps click-through rates. It helps not being looked at these internet service providers as spam. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into, and it's funny because like we deal with a lot of clients who are so like worried, like, well, why am I going to delete these people just because they didn't buy? Well, maybe they'll buy in 2 years from now or 3 years from now. And the truth of the matter is like most people don't buy. It's just a fact. So the ones that you do get buying, that continue selling them things. Like we've gone through this with our wildlife photography business, right? Like things started like teetering off a little bit with the magazine itself. And then we introduced another product, and we literally sent out like launch emails to our buyers. And then we sent them out to our non-buyers. And I think Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, we probably made $2,000 from our non-subscribers, and we've probably made 100 plus thousand just from our buyers. Right. And it's like, I don't need a guru to tell me how to do that math. Right. Like, I don't need someone to tell me, oh, well, over time, if you extrapolate it over 3 years, like, okay, fine. Okay. But how much money are you spending to keep those people on your list? And a lot of clients that we work with fall in love with these people who are not buying, when really you should be falling in love with the people who are buying.
Yeah. I think the whole rule should go not just with people who aren't clicking or opening your emails. I think it goes for your customers too, because your goal is to, like you said, get your customers to keep buying and buying and buying. And, some customers just buy once and then that's it. And they fall out of love with your product. They're not really interested in your other products. So they become unengaged as well. So I don't see there's anything wrong with, sunsetting some of these customers as well after a certain period of time.
But I would probably be a little bit slower to do that personally, because if they purchased once, it could be they're just going through a tough time. Whereas like people who haven't, I think that, cleaning out people who haven't opened up an email in a year, get rid of them. Like, I don't even think I know we're doing this campaign for one of our clients, Kev, like this sunset campaign, which for me personally, like I'd send one email. Like if they haven't opened it in a year, I'll send them one more email and then get rid of them because all they're doing is costing me money. That's it. They're worthless. And I don't mean worthless as people, but they're worthless. They're worthless to the business. You know what I mean? So, and oftentimes those are people that are putting in their own spam emails. So it's not really even going to their real email. So, and again, that also hurts your numbers. So you start sending emails to people who haven't opened it in a year. There are red flags and you said signals that get passed along to these internet service providers. And once they kind of labeled you as an unsafe sender, then all of your emails are going to start going into spam. So there is there's a strong case for keeping your list clean. And we haven't, we are doing that now. But we haven't.
We took a lot of pride in growing our list that big. And we kind of it's kind of like, I'm going to delete 20,000 people from my list because I think that's probably the number of people that we're sending to that are completely unengaged. And like you said, as soon as these like major providers, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, all these notice that you're not opening, and Gmail especially because they have that, promotions tab. I don't know if Yahoo has it, but they have that promotions tab where all these, business emails go into. They'll just drop them into there eventually. And then eventually they won't even go there. They'll go right to the spam because it's like it wants to be the best platform that it can be to provide you with the best service it can. So it's automatically going to be like, okay, you're not opening this. Best experience. Like they want you to stay on their platform. We use Gmail for our business because we've tried other ones and the spam just gets nuts. So they want to provide you with that service. So as soon as they see you're not opening, you're not clicking, they're like, hey, you're not interested in this product anymore. You don't need to see it. So, and that's not only going to happen to that person that doesn't open, it's going to start trickling down to your more engaged people even. Like it's going to notice that. And then you have these other people that you're sending to that may be engaged, that may be interested, that Gmail is going to recognize and say, there's so many of these other people that are also getting your email that are just, not interested. So it's going to slowly trickle down.
Yeah. So Kev, why don't we talk about some of the strategies that we're using to sunset these unengaged people?
Yeah, I think there's two different, like we talked about, there's two different segments of people. There's the customers that are unengaged, and there's just email subscribers who aren't engaged. And I think you do that kind of differently. You handle
and let me just cut you off real quick because I don't mean to, but
okay.
You should also look at your business as a whole. Like the engagement could be reflecting the fact that you only have one product. Like one of our clients that we're talking about, they have one product for the most part. So maybe a customer who buys their product, there's nothing else to buy, so they're not opening up emails anymore. So, you have to also take some of that into account too. Like, for example, with our wildlife photography business, right? We've only had one product up until recently. So if you're a company who can introduce new products rapidly, then maybe the sunsetting of your email list isn't, I don't want to say as important, but maybe you should think about it a little bit more because, we did sell a lot of this new product in our wildlife photography business. We did sell a lot of it to people who didn't buy something from us in the past, right? Like we've had people who just bought the course and they never bought the journal.
Right.
It's still a smaller number, but the point I'm trying to make is that if you have one product, you should also think about that as well. And maybe that's why people aren't opening your emails. Now, if you're sending, and this is what I mean, is like, if you're sending blog emails to them and you're sending value emails to them and they're still not opening, okay, now look, these people are probably never going to buy from me. So we can start doing what Kevin is about to explain. But I just wanted to say that, like, I don't want to come on here and say like, there's only one way to do this. And this is the way to do it. Right. Like
right.
There are other things that you have to account for. And one of those things is, are you introducing new products often? And if you're not, maybe that's why people are unengaged. if you're sending out blog emails or value emails and people are still not opening, okay, now you may be able to say these people aren't going to be buyers. Now, one other thing that I would say is like, I would download the people that you're deleting and keep them somewhere. And then maybe like a year from now, you could try them again. Like you can start uploading them slowly if you wanted to, but it still does not mean that we don't want to keep this list clean.
Well, I don't know. I mean, for the way Klaviyo works, like you can just suppress people and they won't go against your numbers, right?
Right.
They'll
But
just
if you
kinda go on the
suppress,
side.
right. But if you suppress them and then you can't unsuppress them.
they can resubscribe, so they can, yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to re-upload them manually. They'd have
Right.
to actually resubscribe to your list
Have
at
to
some point,
resubscribe.
or if they became a customer, they would resubscribe. So yeah, that is I didn't think about it that way. Sure. And to your point with like customers, I would consider more of like, if you looked at them, your customers, and you found a segment of people who haven't opened in say 6 months or clicked in 6 months, like I would treat them more like I would send them offers, like a few different offers, like a few different products, like in different categories, see if you can get them engaged for some of the other things that you can offer, or maybe provide them a different offer that you've, like maybe an exclusive offer that's only for them and things like that, to try to get them more back engaged. But after a while, if you can see that they're still not clicking, customers, if they're not buying again, then I would set them aside and be like, okay, maybe it's time to bring them back 6 months from now. Let's try to re-engage them another time at some point. But like, I would stop sending them shit.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want, your domain to be looked at as, unfavorable.
Right. And
So,
for
Kev, so I
Oh,
guess,
sorry. No, I was
No.
just going to get into like the subscribers, the unengaged subscribers. That's a little bit of a different story, because you don't want to, like, these are the people who haven't bought from you. And I don't think that just sending them products and sending them offers is the way to re-engage them necessarily right off the bat. I would suggest like a nice plain text email that you could really personalize to them.
well, that's another thing to test.
Right.
Test plain text emails to these people as well. So maybe send them like a graphical email and then send them a plain text email, because sometimes it's the image in the email that gets caught up in spam. And maybe so try different things. And I think these are some of the strategies, Kev, that you should talk about that we're doing. But that's a good point, is like try different forms of emails, because it may just be your creative getting caught up.
Right. Yeah. Because these service providers like Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo, they recognize images. They recognize like even
They
like
can't read anything in the email.
Right. And it just sees images. And if your subject line has been for the longest time, like these
Buy this, buy
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
save $1,000, save $1 million,
or capitals and exclamation points, and all these things are like little spam signals that these providers get that will automatically trigger the spam filters and just throw them in. So it might not even be the fact that they're not engaged. It's just like the things that you're doing, your subject lines, the type of emails you're sending. A plain text email is more likely to get passed because it seems like it's more of a personalized approach. You can put the person's name in it. You can make it feel like you're engaging them directly, and it's more likely to catch someone's attention.
Ever wonder how the e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they just know the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using the most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant email and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with your free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, you should be sending your emails at all different times, because we find that like we can send an email on Friday morning or even Monday morning or Tuesday morning and then send to the same people Wednesday morning. And for some reason on Wednesday they bought, but on Tuesday they didn't. So maybe they were doing something. So don't just delete people if they haven't opened, in a period of time. If you're not staggering the email sends, because I know some people like to do it at the same time every time they send an email. And most people are not sending them enough. So, I would definitely make sure that you have staggered email sends, because that will also affect who's opening it and when they're opening it. I mean, a different person is sitting at their computer Saturday morning than the person at their computer Friday night. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. I mean,
Yeah.
I would also like have them do something that's not necessarily clicking through to your website to buy something. Like ask them a question, try to get them to even respond to your email. If you can get them to reply to an email, that's all of a sudden going to trigger these providers to be like, okay, this person's engaged with this. I should put more priority on this email.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast talking about getting people, like the importance of getting people to respond to your emails. That's something that we get a lot of. We get a lot of people responding to our emails. So it helps. I mean, our Klaviyo account has regularly 40% plus open rates.
Yeah.
So and a lot of that is because we ask questions and people respond to our emails. And so that's another thing, that's a whole nother topic, but it would help in the beginning to get people to respond to emails, because then they are looked at a little bit differently. So
and you can even tell them, be like, hey, listen, this is your last email from us. Like, we noticed that you're really not interested. Like, we love having you here, but you're not going to hear from us again. And if you want to, click over here and you can resubscribe, but this is basically the last time we're going to send. I think that's okay too.
Yeah. So what are you doing, Kevin, for our client right now in the Sunset series, or what are the kind of things you're doing?
No, it's funny. It took a little bit to get the right segment for us, because when I thought about it, it's like we could just easily take a segment of people who haven't opened in 6 months, let's say. But then when you think about it, you're like, well, maybe this person just joined our list like the other day and just hasn't had a chance to, or even within the last 30 days and hasn't opened anything yet.
Well, you're saying because I just want to clarify, in Klaviyo, you're making a segment, and then you're saying, okay, anybody who hasn't opened up an email in 6 months, put them in a segment. But what you're saying right now is like, that would also include people who just subscribed like 2 days ago.
Right. Exactly.
And they'll be in that list of people. So you may want to put like a condition on there that says, and has not. So anybody who hasn't opened up an email in the last 6 months, but they've subscribed before that 6 month period.
Yeah, that was a little tricky to figure out exactly how to pick those people up. And what I did was I actually did first active prior to 2021 and received 20 plus emails, but has not opened after 2021. So they were on our list. They joined our list previous to 2021, and they basically have not opened any email in the entire year, which is like now 8 months or 9 months. And then also this specific list was people who haven't purchased. So it came out to like 8,000 people. So that was a little bit of it, because when I did hasn't opened in the last 6 months, and I just left it at that, the number was massive. But we also just ran a huge email capture campaign, a giveaway campaign, which acquired like 8,000 people. So I'm like, wait, I don't want to affect those people. I don't want to drop those people off. Those people might just be becoming acclimated to our emails and things like that. So I don't want to like get rid of them yet. And
you just have done somebody who hasn't opened up an email since January 1st, 2021, and they've subscribed before that date. Like, because that's all you really had to do. They just had to subscribe before the 1st of January, and they haven't opened up an email from January.
There's a reason why I didn't do that, and I can't tell you what it is right now. I don't know why, but Kim and I, like, we went back and forth. We were on the phone for like an hour and a half, just like tweaking it a little bit here or there. And it was just like, we were trying to get the number to a decent size number. And we finally ended up on this kind of segment. So what we did was we basically sent them an offer, which is not really what we recommended for the non-customers. Maybe it would have been better to create like a more engaging kind of letter to them first. What we did was we sent them an offer. We created an exclusive product that's not available to anybody else. And we said that we made it very, like, we didn't even put the product in the email. We made it very curiosity driven. We just said in the email, exclusive offer, open up to see. So we kind of like had that call to action, like they had to open up to see it. And, you know, we're not seeing any numbers that are any different. Like, so to your point is like, if they haven't opened in 6 months, just get rid of them. Like, don't even send them anything, because they're not going to change. And the providers aren't going to change. So it's not like you're going to all of a sudden sneak by them.
No. And they set up a spam folder, email, or like, I don't know, man. Like for me, like sometimes when I see an email from a company, like I'm too lazy to unsubscribe. I just delete the email. So like every time it comes, I just delete it, and it comes all the time. I delete it. I like Russell Brunson. I'm on his email list for like 3 or 4 of my emails, and I delete them. And why don't I just unsubscribe? So, you know, there's some of that too. But yeah, I mean, don't be afraid. I mean, the moral of this story is like, don't be afraid to get rid of people. Like, don't fall in love with the size of the list. I know in our society, size means a lot, but in this case, you know, honestly, it actually hurts you more than it helps you, because if they're not buying, you know, like people are like, well, you know, what about like branding purposes? And like, nah, like that's not really what email's doing. Like email is like really, it's just like a sales channel. You know, so. And
then just to finish up what we were saying about this flow that we're doing, is like, we have this exclusive offer. And then, like I said, we just sent them a final letter. We said, so I think the subject was like, sorry to see you go. And then it was just like a nice personalized note to these people that said, this is the last email you're going to get from us. It just seems like you're really not that interested. I mean, we said it nicely. It wasn't like, you're not interested, get the F out. We said it really nicely, obviously. And then we were like, we're here if you need us. We're always available. And click this link if you'd like to resubscribe. And we put a link on the bottom, and then they can take them to a landing page on the website that has just an opt-in form that they can resubscribe, and those people can come right back on. And then at the end of the flow, we just mark them as, you know, people who are going to be suppressed. And that's basically it. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Really, like in that case, there's no right or wrong. It's just like, try to get them re-engaged. And if you can't, then get rid of them.
Yeah.
And totally. This might sound like crazy to some people, but I see nothing. There's no benefit to having a huge list of unengaged people. I can't think of any reason to keep those people on.
I mean, if you think about your own behavior, like you just said, like for me, I'm the same way. I'm like, I always say to myself, I sit down on my computer and I have 100 emails every morning, and I'm like, dude, I'm just going to go through and unsubscribe. And instead of doing that, I just like shift select like 100, like 50 emails at a time and delete them. Like to go through every once in a while, I'll take a minute and I'll unsubscribe, but like, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just think about your own behavior. That's what everybody else is doing, the same exact thing.
Right.
So clean that list. Keep your reputation, clean your list, keep your reputation high, especially with these email providers. It's really important to keep those open rates and those click-through rates high.
Yeah. I mean, and especially the way like machine learning is happening, like, you know, it's really easy for them to figure out who has emails that people want and who have emails that people don't want. So
totally. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
Attention e-commerce founders, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, marketers, and growth hackers. If you're working round the clock to build your dream e-commerce business, you need an e-commerce marketing platform that works just as hard as you do. That means you need Klaviyo. With Klaviyo, you'll delight customers and drive revenue at the same time, with personalized emails and SMS marketing campaigns that you can design and send in minutes. For more, Visit Klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.